Hey, welcome to a tutorial video on BeamNG.drive. This is a quick video that's just going to talk about the folder structure within the mods and levels folder. And also wanted to cover a question I saw on the BeamNG Discord about how to manually add a developer material into one of your maps and a custom map. So let's get started. Go ahead and go to the BeamNG repository. So this is either BeamNG.com/resources, or if you're in the game itself, you can go to mods and download from the repo. I am in the web browser, and if you click on terrains, levels, and maps, you can see mine is I just uploaded it. Got 2 ratings, 1 star and 5 star. I could laugh about that. Yeah, terrain map version 2, if you want to download the map, or you can pick another one. You're welcome to use mine, of course, to modify, since it's not even mine, it's the developers. You, of course, need permission if you're going to be modifying and releasing other people's content. So go ahead and click on download now. It's going to download the zip file, terrain map, template map version 2. I keep saying terrain, template map version 2. Let's go ahead and drag that to your desktop. Just like to do this just so I have an easy to work on. You can close the browser. All right, so in the zip file, we have levels and mod info. Mod info is related to the repository, so it's got like the resource number and icons and that kind of stuff. Levels has the actual content of the mod, so if it's a vehicle mod, it will say vehicles. We can go ahead and drag this folder into our levels folder. So here is the rub. In your current folder, which is located in your app data, when you download a mod from the repo, it goes into your mods folder. You're going to see a zip file here. So you could just take the zip file and move it there. That's great for playing the game, but the zip file is meant to be packed. It's a packed file. It's not something that's meant to be modified. So not recommended to unzip or unpack the contents of that folder in the mods folder. It's better to work out of levels. And I've talked about this before, but think of levels as your in-progress maps, and think of mods as your completed, zipped, packed maps and content, okay? So let's go ahead and drag template v2 into our levels folder, and that is now accessible for the game to save and load from. And let's just test that. We can load our shortcut. And sure enough, we're in our template map. And let's go ahead and just, let's make a road to show you that it is saving properly. We'll add a road spline. Let's go, let's go from here down to the beach, maybe. Yeah, that'd be nice. Be around the trees. Of the mountain. Yeah, fun. Go up the mountain. I'll make this quick. Something like that. All right, so let's go ahead and save it. And you can see that it's level saved and it's in levels template v2. And then just to prove that it's saved, let's go ahead and reload it. And sure enough, it has saved our decal road. Sweet. All right, so let's I think let's make some asphalt, right? So we don't have that currently on our map. We only have sand and grass. So let's go ahead and steal that from a developer level. So go ahead and open up your developer root folder, which is where the game was installed. And then we'll open up our custom level. Let's go to, in the developer root folder, let's go to content, levels, ECA, East Coast USA. And then in that zip file, we can go to art, terrains, and we can actually see all the images here, but you could copy them over if you wanted to. Not necessary, because we're just going to reference them. So we're going to go into the main.materials.json, and see how we have all these materials. So we have dirt, forest, grass, grass 2, grass 3. Let's find asphalt, ASP. Perfect, here's asphalt. And we're just gonna select it and copy it. Let's go to our folder now, current, levels, template v2, art, terrains, and we want the materials JSON file for the terrains, and we can just paste in asphalt right at the top. You can edit stuff in here, of course, already, like that. Change the names if you feel so inclined. But the main concept is we're pulling the details from the developer map. Wait, save that, close it. And then the last thing that I do is I clear the temp cache. So delete temp.bat, deletes the temp folder, no temp folder. And now we're good to load the map again. Let's get into it. And if you're wondering why I'm going so fast, it's because I have other videos in this playlist that cover all of the steps that I've taken thus far. I really want to get to a point of comprehension within our mapping community. All right, so now we're back in the level, and let's see if it worked. So let's go to Terrain Tools, Terrain Painter, and lo and behold, we have a new terrain material, asphalt. So I can go ahead and start painting it right now, but it's nice and black, but it's almost too black. Like, I do see the detail, looks great. I also see the macro, that's the little splotches, but the overall texture doesn't seem to be there, the base. And there's a reason for that. So let's go ahead and look in the terrain material library. If we look at asphalt, notice that the base mapping scale is 2048. That's our first clue. So that means that when the developers made their base maps, this number was 2048. Problem is if we change that, it's going to break the base for our beach, sand, and grass. So we're going to keep that 1024, and we'll change that to 1024. And then we don't really want this particular base anyways. It's not for our map. It's for the East Coast USA. So we're going to go ahead and remove it. And we're going to bulk change it to our terrain base, which is the one right here. Bulk change allows us to change all of the maps at once. Bingo. Okay. So now if we save that, in theory that works great, but also that's only for the grass and the sand. And we would literally need this image to have the roads painted onto it, right? If I were to paint it on, I could do that, but for right now, I'm just going to create a version of it that's just going to be black. So we'll call this terrain base. We'll call it gray. And you could say asphalt. You can name these however you want. I like to use colors, to be honest, because that way I can maybe reference the same gray with a couple different materials. So I can just say gray, and let's load this up, and we will edit it with paint. Delete, gray, bucket fill, save. Okay, cool. So now we have the correct file with the correct resolution. Save it. And now when we paint, nice, look at that, beauty. Of course, you can make it darker by going into that file. Just edit it in photos here. You could do it more contrasty or more dark like that. Not bad. Do that right there. Save that. Terrain material library. Reload it. Resave it. Now it's a little darker. Looks pretty good. Okay, last little tip. Now we've got this in our in our level. We can save that. I'm going to show you a little shortcut. So you can actually do this in the road spline. If you look at the spline, I don't have it right now, but when you create a spline, you can use this painting tab right here that allows you to paint a material. It's cool. I haven't messed around with it very much. I know there's a way to select it, but I like to use my own add-on. So I select my decal roads. No need to select the edges. And I'm going to use Road Painter and Edge Generator. If you're interested in this, I will link it in the description. Select our terrain and then paint. Oh, I need to get the decal roads first, then paint. Just like that. Got ourselves a nice, beautiful road. Look at that. Awesome that is. So of course you can modify from here. If these are too thin, you of course can go to inspector and change the nodes to be larger. You can double the texture length to be 20 if you want that. And then you can drag the whole thing over. You can do a lot of stuff here. So you could even say decal. They're all in the middle. So there's multiple ways you can go about this, but that is your best bet. Feel free to stop watching. I'm going to do one last thing because I, of course, have to drive this. Crazy if I didn't. I'm going to smooth the slope here. Oh, yeah, it's much better. It's going to give it a nice smooth surface. Especially right there. That's like a little bit. Big bump. And by no means do I consider myself a pro in the terrain editor. I just like doing it. I think it's fun. I think it's a good outlet. All right, let's try this. Actually, you could even do this. Check it out. Decal road editor. Let's make this nice and wide. Let's do like a 5. Overlap it a little bit. Change this to like edge. Asphalt edge. Flip it upside down. Change that to like a 3. And then we'll do like a texture like a 20. That's not bad. So you get this cool edge. You can even do a fade if you want to. Look at that. Damn, that looks good. Okay, wait. All right, gotta try it. That is very steep. Oh, baby. Ask Terry Martin how many times he gets distracted making a tutorial. Oh, sharp turn. That's the name of the game. You gotta test your maps. Pretty good smoothing. Not a perfect road, definitely some patches. Not too bad. All right, hope that helps.